I'm not certain how many of you know that there was a chili cook-off, chili and salsa cook-off going on across the street. So we scheduled our event long before they advertised their event. But I'm Doris Brumfield, and I am the chairman of or the president of the Friends of Gibson, the Gibson Museum. We are going into our 10th year of having transformed what was once the Gibson Library into the Gibson Museum. Right now we're managed by the County of Lake, or we're owned by the County of Lake. For the first 5 years or so, we were managed through the Lake County Historical Society under their umbrella, the Friends of Gibson operated. Then we became our own nonprofit as the South Lake County Historical Association. And we have with us the vice chair of the association, Ms. Millie Simon. And we have our treasurer with us, John Meyer. And we have the office manager of the Lake County Museums, and that is Corey Jensen. There are actually 3 wonderful museums here in the County of Lake. There's the old Courthouse Museum in Lakeport, and then we have the Lower Lake Schoolhouse Museum in Lower Lake, and here at the Gibson Museum. And we are 2 or 3 years ago, we began by having chats of interesting people who had historical interest or of historical interest in our community. We had scheduled chats here at the Gibson. And during COVID, we limited the number of chats that we had. But we are thrilled that to bring on our chats, bring them back, is Leroy Shipley. Smith. Oh, I was thinking, okay, Leroy Smith, yes, thank you. And who is this with you?
My nephew, Floyd.
Floyd
Jones.
Floyd Jones is here also. And we are very happy to have you with us, knowing that for those who don't get a chance to see this display, Gabriele Fellows is doing our videography, and it will be on the county's museum YouTube page. If you choose to support our museum, we encourage you to do so. We have a series of chats going through October, and they are at 3 o'clock and on Saturdays, and you can pick up one of the little flyers that says what's coming up, what kind of things are happening. So Leroy Smith, I'm going to turn it over to you, and you can share with us all of the things that you think we need to know about Obsidian.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
There's all kind of obsidian here in Lake County. This one, it's a tint. There's a brown tint.
Oh.
It's hard to get. Once you break it, you'll find the tint. We have some rainbow around here too. And this one is just like a black obsidian, but clear once you get down to what you want when you're working with arrowheads. And a lot of people would ask me if I teach them. I tell them no, because it's very dangerous. Because some of the doctors here today use obsidian flakes to operate with, because they don't give you no scars. It's one of the sharpest blades in the world. I mean, I got a sharp knife because I do a lot of hunting, so I keep it sharp. It's sharper than my knife. You know, sometimes if I have it with me, I'll break one off, break a flake off of this, and I'll be faster with it than with my knife. A lot of people will make knives out of them, but it's dangerous to work with, real thing, because it's so sharp. And all that, once you're breaking it, like I got my stove here, breaking it, just the flakes that come off like there is so small, so sharp that it just goes right easy into your finger. Even you get gloves on, it goes through the gloves too.
I cut my hand just picking one up.
Yeah, and you can tell how sharp they are.
Mhm.
They're very, very sharp. And my dad taught me a little, and he had a friend that knew me more, and he had me go learn with him. And I make some today. Some of the tribes will ask me to make them some for their ceremonial dances. I make them for them. I tell them, and I'll tell them, oh, well, I'm going to pay with blood. I tell them, they know too, you know. They know it's very sharp. Only time I work with them is outside because the fine particles of dust that comes up when you hit that. And when you're working with it, the best thing is to make sure you got old clothes because it gets all over your leg. So it's a, like I say, it's a pretty dangerous hobby you want to get into. You know, make sure you got a lot of Band-Aids around.
Oh, really?
Because every time you knock a flake off, it's just, you know, if you're not careful and you don't got your gloves on, you know, you're gonna get cut. You know, even like, I saw this, one of my nieces said, she found this on eBay. I said, because I make these. It was out at Deer Horde, which is, you know, a stick I find. She went and got me one. It works good. I like it. You know, and then, well, because all my stuff's still in storage and like in moving. She picked all this up because she wanted to learn. I said, okay. I told her, old clothes, a lot of gloves, and I said, get safety glasses. Safety glasses, and this is very important. Because once you're hitting it, or if you're flaking it, those little flakes just... I did get one stuck in my eye, and it's like, it took a couple of days to get it out. And you know, like I say, it's so sharp. It's, you know, people ask me, and I said, no, I ain't gonna teach you. Too sharp. I always tell them, go on YouTube. Just in case you get hurt, you can't blame me. You know, so, I mean, any kind of questions? Or?
Where are the, you know, it's obvious to find it on Bottle Rock Road.
Yeah.
The Obsidian on Bottle Rock Road, but where else in Lake, are there other places
You know,
in Lake County?
That's the only place I find is on Bottle Rock Road there. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. This is hard to find, you know, there's just plenty there.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just don't pick any one up either because they're inside, some of them are not cooked all the way through. It's just like the little sand particles are still in it. Because, you know, it is a volcanic rock.
Okay.
So some will have sand in it, a little bit of particles of sand, and it just won't flake as good.
Mm-hmm.
And then when someone, like my niece, I'm teaching her, and I got her a glass bottle, put a nail in it, and I knocked the bottom out by shaking it in a bucket of water. The bottom came, and I showed her how to work with it. I told her, don't pick it up if I'm not there, because you're gonna get cut. Even with glass, you're gonna get cut. I mean, it's fun to do, but it's pretty dangerous. I mean, like you say, you just picked it up and you get a little, yeah.
And Leroy, you want to mention to what latecomers, what's inside of them, like you said?
On some of these
Yeah.
are not cooked. I call them cooked.
Yeah.
You know, it came out too fast out of the volcanoes, and some of them have pits in them, like sand pits. Didn't go all the way through. So those are just like no good to work with. They will stop the flakes going through. I mean, like, you can see all this right here. I'd have to clean that all off to
And
get
how do
to
you
clear.
clean it?
I'll bust it with a rock.
So you use another rock to...
Yeah, you gotta use rocks like these. And you want it, like I bust it off like that and try to get flakes coming off. Big flakes coming off. Sometimes I'll get small flakes and I'll put them aside. So I can use that for an arrowhead later on.
Oh.
You know, if I'm making a big spear point, I'll probably go through a whole rock like this. Till
For
I
one
find,
spear point?
yeah, to find the one I want.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not the first time, you know, you might hit it off and no, you hit it, you know, use the whole rock, but all the little flakes you get off it, you know, you just set to the side, and you can make a point out of it. Arrowhead. And the ones I get, I believe it's from Oregon, it's a brown that comes. Get a brown obsidian. really nice obsidian.
So it's not black at all, it's a...
No, it depends where you get it. Here, around here, I know it's black, and some are rainbow colors, some are got a little tint of brown in it. But don't like the ones, like I said, come from Oregon, they got really nice brown. The whole thing, the whole rock is just brown. Yeah, and it'll take you a while to, like I say, to get that point, what point you want, you would probably go through the whole rock until you get that one flake. You look at your flake and you say, okay, I see it in there. And you just start. It's like, I get this. If I had a good flake off it, then I'd put it on leather, but then once I got it sitting there, I just keep knocking all that little stuff, all that fine stuff off until I get to the thick part of it. And then I just barely just tap it, and those flakes will come off. It's like you would, like if I had this obsidian and this was a good flake, I'd just keep knocking this one part. They say you're gonna get this platform to go this way, and then once you're done, you would rub it down with a thing like this. You'd rub it off, make it smooth. Then you turn around and be using this and just tap. You know, that's what you're doing. That's all it is. A tiny tap like this, you get major flakes coming off.
Is that metal that you're using?
Oh, this is copper.
Okay.
It's because it's a smooth. You know, with the deer, like I said, all my stuff's in storage. The deer horns I got, I sharpen them up like these, make them sharp like these. So I get really fine flakes off them. And this same thing as the thing there. You know, you want to, I guess you would call it soft metal. Yeah. And this one here is to get when you at the end to really get the fine flakes off,
Right.
and to put your notches in, you know, for your arrow, you know, or for your spear point too. But it is a lot. Like I said, I like it. A lot of people say I'm crazy. I said, well, it relaxes me. You know, that's the only thing you're thinking about is I'm gonna get that done.
So we had a contractor over and he was doing some work and he found this piece of black material, and I showed it to you. And he thought it was maybe a spearhead. And I mean, he seemed confident that it was, but it's what the email, right? So whenever you find something like that, we should contact somebody like you who's knowledgeable.
Yeah, or just bring it to these guys here in the museum. They'd know too. Yeah, I mean, you will know when you find a spear point or an arrowhead.
But-
Even if it's cracked, you will see the shape of it.
But we should have somebody who knows what it is.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, not just bring it to the
Yeah.
museum because
Yeah.
he said he thought it was, but it evidently wasn't.
Yeah.
So we should always have somebody like you or somebody from the museum
Yeah.
authenticated.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
I have a couple of questions.
Oh.
I went down to Bottle Rock after the big rains and I pulled a couple of
Yeah.
nice sized pieces of the black
Uh-huh.
obsidian, but it had a lot of inclusion. It looked like it had a lot of little air pockets
Yeah,
in it.
yeah. Uh-huh.
And then my wife's good friend gave me a couple of pieces. One is black with gray rainbow stripes.
Yes.
And then another one, it's beautifully solid black, smooth as could be.
Yeah, those are clear, really nice.
So what I did is I took the one that I found and I hit it with a rock, okay? And it fractured into all kinds of just little fragments. Some of them, like you said, just
Yeah.
razor sharp little
Yeah.
pieces. But it felt to me like it had some kind of grain to it.
Yeah.
Do the rocks have actual?
Yeah, they do have a grain. I mean, once you hit a flake off, you want to look at it and you'll see it'll sounds funny, but it will speak to you. Okay, I gotta hit it this way.
Okay, so as you break smaller pieces off, you're looking for one
Yeah.
that'll fashion what you're trying
Yeah.
to make. It'll be more of that shape,
yeah,
and that's
it
where
will.
you start.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
crazy, but yeah, it will come off just like that to what you want it to be.
Okay.
Once you get that flake to come off, it will form, but it'll be a raw form. You look at it and say, wow.
Okay, so really you're starting with nature giving you the shape
Yeah,
and then you're fashioning it from there.
yeah.
Okay, well, it seemed odd to me when I was doing it because it kind of just like broke apart wherever it wanted to.
Yeah.
And I was chipping away and it wasn't doing what I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you turn around, turn around and look at it, it's, like I say again, it will let you know, hit it here, hit me here. And
Okay.
that flake will come off of that, a nice, it will be round like that. The bottom of it will be thick and the upper will be thinner, it'll be like thick here and then go up.
Okay.
And then if I want to cheat, I go to a rock shop, I say, pick that up for me, man.
Ah.
He give me slabs of it.
So when you get to the finer points of this, just a tap.
Tap, yeah,
Hit it
once
just like-
you get it to what you want,
Mhm.
what you have, always have gloves, always have some leather on you.
Right.
And it's real, you want to hold it and you just want to just easy, just,
Pushing motion.
yeah, it's a push. You push
Okay,
it
so
and
you-
then just
so
like
it's-
clicking.
so it's
you
like
push it. and
flanking
you-
off.
Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there anything once you've got the arrowhead, how you want it, do you seal it or anything, or is it just complete? There's nothing you put,
I know, just,
It's done.
I'm done,
it's,
Sometimes sometimes you will be working on, I get one more and inside you say, nah, I can do it. That last one you do, it goes clink. Because I had so many of those happen to me, like I was making the spearheads. So I can take that one last flake off and that's it, I'll put it away.
And it breaks in half.
Break right now.
Mhm.
Yeah. But it's a lot of fun though. You sit down in it because it like relaxes you, takes your mind off everything because you have to watch what you're doing.
Yeah, the shards, the fractures,
Yeah.
they come to just transparent, and they're razor sharp.
Like I say, a lot of doctors,
Yeah.
if they know you, they will want you to give them flakes. If you get a bigger rock than that, a rock will be about the Obsidian, be like that, and you want to go straight down because those flakes will just travel straight down. And you just it's so funny. You get a pattern as you breaking. You see the pattern that goes around the rock, and you just follow that. You get pretty good sharp flakes come off like that.
Okay. So typically, is the center of the rock better than the outside? You don't know.
Oh
until you
yeah,
break
yeah.
it.
Well, yeah, because look how the outside looks. You got to try to get this cleaned off, because otherwise this will stop you from running your flakes across. So that way, I would knock a lot of this off until I get, maybe my third, fourth hit in, hoping I get a really nice flake what I want to make with it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just, when I do it, to me, it feel like it speaks to me, Like I say, I might hit this 2 times, and a lot of it would come off the face, and then I hit the, again, and it's just like a perfect come off for me. And I said, I'll work with it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like I say, if you do it, you gotta keep your mind on it. No distraction, Work with it until you say, okay, I'll work with it for so long, then I'll put it away. And then I'll come back to it again and finish it off. Don't try to do it all in one day, because you will run into a lot of problems. Yeah. But stuff like this, you can buy, they sell all this on the internet.
I was just using a rock,
Yeah, like
and
this?
really I had no control because.
Well, you know what you do is see this rock is just to pound all the big flakes off.
Right.
And sometimes I'll get just the little river rocks, is what you want. The little river rock, and I can make an arrowhead with that little river rock.
Okay.
And it's all just sitting there, just easy tapping the ends of it until you get the shape you want. And then it's just back and forth, flipping it back and forth. And it will come out.
How long have you been flaking obsidian?
Long time. Oh, I started probably when I was 10. I got to watch my dad make them.
Okay, so your dad used to do it, and where did you live?
In Elem?
Oh, okay, you're from the Elam tribe.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
And who was your dad?
John Smith.
John Smith.
Yeah.
Very good, very good.
And then he had a friend that knew more, and he had me set with him, and so I learned more. And then, you know.
So approximately how long do you think the people of the Elam tribe have been flaking?
I couldn't answer that. I would not know. I mean, my dad just showed me, asked me if I wanted. Yeah, and that was it. You know, I don't know how long they've been. I don't know if they've been doing it the whole time they were there. You know? I mean, apparently they had to, you know, go hunting. Because you got small arrowheads for the birds, a little bigger one for the little birds, then you get your deer one that's really big.
So if you get a premier piece of the obsidian, is it still really brittle, or is it pretty strong? It's brittle.
It's pretty strong.
Okay.
It's pretty strong. You think it is because you flaked it down so thin, but it's pretty strong.
Okay.
Maybe, you know, like the deer flakes, you know, the arrows are about that big. Maybe the tip will break, but the rest of it will still be there.
Okay. My son calls it dragon's glass.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah, and if you're gonna go further into it, like the glass bottles, you know, they're concave like that on the bottom.
Right.
That's where you're gonna knock all your flakes to. You're not gonna catch nothing on top.
Okay.
It's gonna be all on the bottom because it sounds funny. That's gonna flatten out. It's gonna come to flat like that. And then you take just a couple off the top. Because
Okay.
one guy argued with me because I found this really nice dark green glass. Yeah, I'm making it out. I made an arrowhead out of it. And he thought it was, the heck is that green rock? Jade. He thought it was jade. I said, no, it's just plain old glass. No, it's jade. I said, no, it's not.
So the technique really is to shear it away.
Everything you come in with is you want to put your hand tool on it. At first, what you want to do is you want to put it, you know, on the edge like this and push into it. And once you get into it, then you want to pull it off like that, and that flick will come right off.
Got it. Okay.
Sometimes you don't. You know. And then always got to clean your, once you do that, you always got to clean your edges on, sides off, edges. Get a rock like this, rub it, make it smooth, and then, because there's small little pits there that you don't see, but you clean off with that and you'll feel it a lot better when you pull it off.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just, like I say, you know, I can say it over and over again, and people do, what are you talking about? But I mean, it is. Once you get to see, once you do it, and you get a finished product, it's like, yeah.
And the flakes, or when you do it, is it, when it molds together, is it like veins of glass that?
I guess you could call it veins. You could find there's some most of them are just, you make your veins.
Oh, you make the veins.
Because once you're flaking off, you make a pattern. You do not know it, but you are making a pattern. And until you're done with it and you look at it and you say, wait a minute, there's like a pattern where you can see the flakes come off all the way down the bottom.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't realize it until you're done and you look at it and you say, whoa.
Has anyone here ever flaked bottle rock?
I tried for a few minutes. That's why I'm here trying to understand how to do it.
Yes, yeah, a few minutes, like he says, you have to put it down and come back to it, yes.
Well, I really had no idea what I was doing, and so it was just kind of an
Just
experiment.
a river rock. Go to the river and find a rock like that.
Right.
Maybe a little bigger one.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that is.
Right. Piece of granite.
Yeah,
Smack it.
just smack it. You know, you don't have to get way back here. I mean, it's just the little with the wrist on it, and go work around it, and it will come off.
Where do you put the pieces that you don't use just for safety, just in it?
I try to make sure nobody's around.
Move the dog.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Bury
Yeah.
them.
Well, if you're gonna do that, I'll go get me a tarp
Mm-hmm.
where you have everything on the tarp, onto the, you know, all that
Yeah.
sharp little flakes that knocked off, and just fold it up and go dump it someplace.
And did you say there were YouTube videos
Oh, yeah,
on flaking bottle rock?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And where in, did you say Oregon?
Yeah, Oregon, they have a dark brown, the whole rock's brown.
So it's generally coming from a volcano.
Yeah.
So many volcanoes will create that, that type of glass.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's only a couple places in California where the obsidian is prevalent. And it's another volcanic area, and I
And
can't
up in
tell you
Redding,
where.
I think?
I'm sorry?
I think there's one up in Redding,
Near
Yes.
Shasta?
around
Maybe?
Shasta, some place up there.
Lassen?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's some in Lassa,
Right.
big deposit in Lassa.
Yeah,
Did you say the only deposit in this county is that Bottle Rock?
yeah, when you drive up Bottle Rock, you just see it all laying along the road, you know?
Yeah, Bottle Rock, there's a big outcropping. In fact, the whole side of the hill is obsidian. I just got some off the side of the road, and I was.
Yeah, you know, sometimes if you try to dig it out,
Mhm.
then you'll get a better piece if you dig it out of the mountain.
Got it.
You know, you have a really nice piece. Because most of mine, if people just give me, you know, like rocks like this, they give me, okay, and it's like, oh, that was all right. I hope it's good, and once I start breaking and going into it.
On Bottle Rock Road, there's a homestead, there's a driveway, and there's two pieces of obsidian. They're huge boulders of obsidian, the biggest pieces I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There's two of them, Marx's driveway.
Wow, I'd go up there and walk away.
Have you tried to fracture this? Have you ever tried it?
No, but we have a ton of it on our property. But it's
Oh,
not,
wow.
it's all brought in. It's not
Oh,
the deposit. It's all flakes. It's all
Oh,
tips
Oh,
and
okay.
pieces and all that.
We have a friend that has a property and his entire property is obsidian.
Obsidian.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
I've read
Oh.
Yeah.
Red Hook Road also.
It is a very dangerous medium. In my short time working with it, it's something to reckon with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make sure you have pants, old pants on.
Glasses and gloves are.
Mhm. Yeah, you don't want none of that get in your eyes. Because once you're working with it, once you get into it and you're doing it, you don't even realize how the flakes are just,
Going everywhere.
yeah, because you're into it. I mean, it's fun to see what the end is gonna be after it looks like this, you know? It's a really good thing to do. Like I say, a lot of people ask me, I said, no, it's too. Because I saw some people almost cut their finger off working with this. So I said, no, man, I'm not gonna teach nobody. You can sit there and watch me, but no. This is, like I say, it's a great hobby, but a dangerous hobby, one of the dangerous hobbies. So,
So
It's
does
fun to work with.
anybody on Elem, do they
No.
do this if they
No.
don't? I didn't think so. You're the only one
yeah,
you're the only one that,
yeah.
And do you still do it while your time off from work?
Yeah, I'll, you know, it's like most time it's funny, but I'll go out and look at the rock, and if I don't feel like it's talking to me.
Yeah, that's
I'll
the
just-
way basket people are too.
Yeah, I just, oh, okay, you know, and then some days I might come home from work and tired, it's like, hey, here I am, you know, okay, go there and knock some flakes off and see what I got, find what I want, and once I find it, I just work with it.
We had a display or a production done by John Parker, Dr. John Parker, who is with, I think he's currently the president of the Lake County Historical Society. And we had a meeting here at the Gibson, and he did some obsidian flaking, but we did it outside.
Oh, yeah.
We did the flaking outside, and I think we have a video of that, and I'll make sure that it's on the Gibson Museum website, and you can see that also. But one of the things that's really important is that because when people find arrowheads or things that are of historic value, they're not supposed to remove them. As a law that limits what you can do with things once you find it. Anyone very familiar with that law that you want to, do you want to share that with us?
Yeah. My name's Anthony. I work with the Lake County Museums. Typically, I call it when I give presentations for students, I call it the Leave It Lie Law. Easy to remember. And I just encourage people, if you find anything that you think is a Native American artifact, don't pick it up. Instead, call the closest tribe preservation tribal office and just report it to them.
Yeah.
And typically, if you give them the location, they'll go right out there and look and see what it is.
Yeah.
And if it's got, I've heard two things. If it's culturally important, sometimes they'll take it with them to protect it. Other times, if it's not deemed anything overtly special or ceremonial, they will just leave it alone and leave it lie, and so the next person who's walking can, stumble upon it and hopefully appreciate it, and then, that way we all get to enjoy it.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. Like you say, if it's ceremonial, they'll take it and do what they have to do with it. But if it's not, they'll just, leave it and walk away.
And the key is for people who don't know, to know that there's a law that you are to leave it there, not to just collect it and go off with it. Or think that you can sell it or put it in your private collection. Yes?
I had one friend who did pick up an arrowhead, and there was an anthropologist and geologist from UC Davis that he knew, and he showed it to him, and the gentleman actually knew exactly where he picked it up at. He said, I know where you found this, and you're supposed to leave it alone. And so it may seem like a needle in a haystack, but the stuff that is reported is documented quite widely, and especially with universities. And so I always tell myself, even if you want it, chances are someone will know you took it. So it's better just leave it alone.
And maybe just take a picture of it and say, I found it and this is where it was, and that becomes your documentation or your remembrance, because we want to remember the experiences we have through life, but yet we want to abide with the law and understand that this belonged to the history of a different people.
And if you're interested more in that, you can research NAGPRA, which is the Native American Graves and the Native American Graves Repatriation Act. And basically, museums or anyone who gets federal funding has to go through their inventory, and anything with spiritual significance or ceremonial significance has to be returned to the tribes. And so even Lake County Museums, we're going through our collections right now to find significant pieces of our collection to return it to the tribes so they can have it. And so that is a big movement. And so a lot of federally funded museums and programs, even with universities, are giving back these possessions. And so just to further remind people, like you said, it doesn't belong to you. It belongs to, at that point, the earth, and so you gotta leave it.
So is it possible for a tribe, if something's given to them, that they determine that they would like for it to remain in possession of a museum? Has that ever happened, so that it can be displayed and the history of it can be shared? Has that ever happened that we know of?
I know with the South Dakota Lakota tribe, there was artifacts in Massachusetts that were from the massacre of Wounded Knee. And so what they offered to do was, if they got the originals back, they would have people make excellent reproductions that they can give back to the museums. And so they're still on display, you can still educate people, but the originals have very significant consequences when it comes to burials, death, and spirituality. And so basically they're just trying to do whatever they can to make it, more appeasable to the collectors, the museums, just so they are extra motivated to return these possessions.
And we want to honor the origin of the pieces as well. Very good.
Did they get them back?
They got some back, not all of them. They had, for instance, part of the chief's hair, and they found the descendant and they returned that. Moccasins for children. A lot of the items, though, because they aren't federally funded, they don't have to return them. You know, and so that's the loophole with NAGPRA, is it's only if you accept federal funding. And so if you're a small museum who doesn't accept anything, you don't technically need to follow those laws.
Other questions? Other reflections? I'd like to mention that the Gibson, as well as the other two Lake County museums, have a traveling exhibit or an exhibit that's coming from the, do you want to explain what it is?
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how to pronounce it, the Barrio program in the 20s, probably through the 50s, where we had immigrants from Mexico come into California and throughout the United States in order to work in the fields, pick all of our produce, and then so they would come here during seasons, travel around. This was basically their home. Some of them sent the money back home, others stayed, and so it's a really awesome exhibit. It comes from the Smithsonian, and so when they have certain exhibits, they will hand them down to other museums to kind of use. And so we incorporated some of our own agricultural pieces that we have in our collection. So I'm telling everyone to come and check it out because it's one part of especially California history that most people don't really know about. And it was a huge program, which to this day has affected probably tens of millions of lives, you know, through the ripple effect. And so there was a woman, she came in with her 2 kids, and just the other day and mentioned that her grandfather was part of the program, came from Mexico, eventually became a US citizen, and so was able to support his family that way. And especially during World War II, when we had people going and serving overseas, we needed to keep the economy going, especially in California, because agriculture is a cornerstone of our economy. And so the food that we were picking in California was going to soldiers, it was going to allies overseas, and so it really helped not just the war effort, but California as well.
So there are large posters here that describe it, that's in English as well as in Spanish. Yes. Well, next month's presenter is here with us, and that is Kathleen and Scavone, and she is an author on Lake County history, as well as she's a poet.
Potter.
Oh, well, she's a potter too.
Oh,
but don't
yeah,
you write poetry?
Yeah, I do write poetry.
Yeah. See, poetess, you know. And she's also a potter, and we have a few of her things here. And she does it with. Do you want to share just briefly?
Oh, I call it, my pottery is pottery of place. It incorporates a lot of the natural elements of Lake County, like the Manzanita wood for the lids, and then I like to, include a little write-up with my pottery to tell about the historical significance of it could be the wood used on the lid, or it could be the native, another type of mineral, the Lake County diamonds we call them. It's almost as hard a glass as a diamond, a regular diamond that most people buy at a store, but this is our Lake County diamonds are a 7 on the Mohs scale. Not quite as hard, but they are gemstone quality. And
Can you heat up the Lake County diamond? Like the diamond, you can put a torch to it?
That's a good question. I did put some in my kiln once just to see if they'd melt, because I have another thing that I do with the local wine bottle glass, and the glass didn't do anything. That was 2,000 degrees, and it didn't do anything to the Lake County diamonds.
So probably not.
So we're looking forward to your presentation.
I only know it as Lake County Diamond as well. What is it actually called? Is that,
Well,
that's its name?
Isn't it a quartz?
Scientific?
It is a type of quartz.
It's a type of quartz.
I thought it wasn't a quartz mineral. I thought it was a
Well, I better research. I better double check my facts.
What did you
I
think?
thought it was a silicone crystal.
Silica?
Or
Crystal?
silica.
My goodness. All right, if I had Alexa here, I'd ask her. what is a Lake County diamond really made?
Yeah, I better double.
Okay, we're
Yeah, I
gonna,
heard
well,
it.
come on back next month and we'll have that answer for you. Yes. Well, we thank you very much for being with us and hope you'll look at the other exhibits here. And we are truly appreciative of your coming to share your experiences and what it takes and how we protect ourselves if you're even vaguely thinking about flaking some obsidian. Don't think about it. I think we have some displays over here in the Native American portion, or the First Peoples portion of our display, of some obsidian that has been flaked.
Have you made a spearhead before, Leroy?
Yeah.
You have, huh? And do you have it? You should have brought it. Oh, like you said, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. And thank you, Millie, for suggesting
Well, we
that
needed
were-
some this Sunday
Yes,
to come in
yes.
for May, and I appreciate you just stepping up to the plate.
Yes.
Because I'm pretty
Thank
sure
you.
there's a lot of people here.